Welcome to Markets Now. I'm Michelle Roque with Kevin Duling of KD Investors. We're seeing quite a bit of green on the board this morning, a few exceptions in HRW wheat, some of the deferred feeder cattle contracts. But Kevin, let's talk about corn and soybeans first. Yesterday, we finally saw a bit of a bounce. Was that a reversal technically? And are we putting in weather premium, or what's driving it?
Well, my models, my weather models are suggesting that we're going to have to see a pretty good pattern flip around the 12th, 14th of June, and there's no weather premium in this at all. So I think that's probably what we're starting to see here. Plus, we're just starting to get too cheap, and demand's been strong and continues to be strong. So we're just down to a level that should have value, and now it's probably time to start watching the weather close. So
Right.
and it's just we've got an elevated risk of some ridges coming into the northern plains and Midwest this year, and so it's right on pace if those models are accurate. So
corn made new lows for the move yesterday, though, before it reversed. And so from a technical standpoint, do you think we can build on this? Because we have resistance already in that 450 area in the July, don't we?
Yes, we do. It doesn't mean we're going to get roaring out of here yet. It just means we may stop the bleed for a while and establish a base and go sideways a bit. And that's kind of what we need to see. And then, like I say, we get a little farther out there in the month. Come in next Monday. We'll see what the weather models do, and then we'll start playing the weather game a little bit. And funds may want to hold off from selling into this thing too much. So we'll see what they want to do.
Right. Kevin, as of the crop progress report on Monday, we still have like 6.7 million acres of corn left to plant. Is the market at all concerned yet that we're not going to get that planted?
Not yet. I mean, I haven't heard too much about people switching varieties up and shortening the days, but they're going to have to pretty quick if it stays wet. But with the hot, dry, forecast coming in, I think they're going to go with it. So not yet. It'd be great to see another 1.5 million come off of that just to support the bullish case, but it's a little early yet. So we'll see what happens next week. So
gotcha. So the soybean market also turning higher yesterday, and we've just really been tied to not only what soybean oil is doing, but what we're doing with these U.S.-China talks, right?
They're correct. And then, this week, Trump and Xi are going to meet or have a phone call. So we'll see what comes out of that. Trump's pushing pretty hard for trade deals this week. So that 1050, or we seem married to that 1050 mark in soybeans. So we've been there since early April and showing no signs of moving away from it yet. So we're going to have to get something going on the trade front to determine what's going to happen, or the weather front, So
yeah, and I think today was the self-imposed deadline that the Trump administration put on a lot of these countries to get a deal in before the July 4th tariff battle starts again there, in a month.
Right, and who knows what's really going on behind the scenes and how much progress there's been or not been, and we just all kind of have a back seat and have to wait and see what happens. It's interesting to see all these bilateral trade deals happen if they happen, and it would be a good shot in the arm if they do. And if it drags on, we're probably not going to see, as much improvement in prices as we'd like to see. So
yeah, we'll see how the court case goes here this week, or the appeals court decision, because that is looming as well. Okay, so the wheat market, let's talk about that one. We had a pretty good pop here on Monday because of maybe some geopolitical fears. But what's going on in that wheat market right now? Are we starting to see any harvest pressure or not?
I think overall, yes. I think there's still quite a few growers nervous about the rainfall in the southern plains, and so that's gonna hold off the sales from that region a little bit. I thought we'd have a positive week this week. The war escalated pretty big. The Ukraine tried to blow up the Kerch Bridge yesterday. I don't think they were successful. They may have damaged it a little bit. And then probably the bigger news is just the weather. I mean, the Black Sea's got a big hot, dry week plus coming right at the wrong time. You've got Canada with some dryness issues, Northern Plains with some issues, the Pacific Northwest has got some issues, and you've got a massive amount of rain in the Southern Plains. We'll see what that does. Hard red winter can handle rain better than all the other varieties, so it can take quite a bit of rain and still come out fine. But it's certainly something to keep an eye on. But I just think there's enough weather. There's enough weather threats. This market should be paying attention to that. But USDA came out with guns blazing with good production everywhere, and we're going to fall well short of those numbers. But I don't know when people are going to care about that. It's certainly not now.
Yeah.
So.
We also had the spring wheat rating. Last week was the first one, a 37-year low. We saw a little bit of an improvement this week in that spring wheat rating. But overall, talk about your assessment of the crop.
Well, it's okay. I mean, it's got some potential. There's some spots that don't have potential, especially as you get up into the parts of Canada there. When USDA's got them at 36 million tons, I had them at 31. It sounded like most of the commercials had them at 31. And now that the weather is missing a pretty good hole there, we're probably going to have to back that down into the upper 20s. And so overall, I think we're looking at, lower production across the board. And, my Northern Plains customers, they're not super grumpy, but they're not super optimistic either. So, they've got a ways to go, and they're going to need some ideal weather to get there. So, not off to a great start. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, talk about even the P&W. What does the crop look like there?
Well, I had us factored in for a slightly above average crop, not so much because of the condition, but because we had extra acres from the irrigated group, because there's nothing they can raise that makes money. And but now we've gone, May was dry, April was dry, and now we're going to get hot, and everything's going backwards pretty quickly. So now I'm actually moving below average for the Pacific Northwest, and we'll see if we do get that weather flip that I talked about with the corn, and if it happens, then that's going to help us a little bit and stop the bleeding. But I do think we're trending below average now, so it's not looking that good. Not looking that good at all. So.
Yeah, and it's a poor start for both North Dakota and South Dakota here, isn't it?
It is.
And Montana.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I thought we'd have a good positive week this week. I was surprised to see them sell heavily into it on Monday. Not sure what that was about. It's a very bizarre market right now. It's hard to wrap my head around. So
yeah. Do you think, Kevin, conditions will start to improve if we get a little bit more heat, or what's been the main problem that we had such poor ratings in North Dakota, South Dakota, and Montana here initially?
Well, they've been under some pretty good, pretty dry conditions, and they just didn't get the stand of wheat that they wanted. It's patchy, it's spotty, it's just not. It's not uniform, and there's spots that look great, but overall it's obviously not very good. So if they start, wheat's a good plant. I mean, if it comes up late, then they can still make it. But I don't know. I'm not very optimistic as far as like the Canadians, especially. I feel a little better about the U.S. side of it, but we'll see how it goes. So.
Is there a point in time that you think, with the funds as short as they are, that weather will become enough of a focal point that the market might take off on that, or not?
I really don't think so. It should have this week if we were going to do that. You look at the Black Sea and you see a big, a high pressure ridge moving in with elevated temps, and right at their important time, and they don't have a subsoil moisture to support it, and that doesn't move the market. And it's like, well, it's not going to. And so to me, it's going to have to come from the cash side. The cash side is going to have to lead the way up. Demand's going to have to continue as it is. We've had great demand. But I will say, with that said, on the chart, we've got nice inverted head and shoulders bottoms on all three of the U.S. markets. Minneapolis has already confirmed it. I assume the weakness this week is just kind of a technical pullback. Chicago and KC haven't confirmed it yet, but the pattern's there. So if we can rally today and tomorrow, I feel like, okay, maybe we are finally turning the corner here.
Yeah, there's a lot of people talking about that head and shoulders bottom formation. So we'll see if we can build on that. Let's lastly talk about the cattle market. We're trying to rebound today after what looked like some reversal action again yesterday in the cattle. Are you concerned about that?
From the future standpoint, yes. I mean, anytime I see a fairly major high point get printed, and then we come back up and we can't take that out, it makes me nervous. And for me, it's like, what are the funds going to do? And are they going to start liquidating a little bit and push this lower? Which you look at common sense and say, well, that shouldn't happen with the cash well above it. But we'll see what the funds want to do. So it's kind of a difficult position that growers or producers are in. But so we'll see how this shakes out. But you wouldn't think it'd be able to drop too far. But we'll see how much of a imprint the funds have on this market here in the next 2 weeks, I think.
Yeah, it's certainly a disconnect between cash and futures for sure. All right, thanks so much, Kevin Duling with KD Investors. That is Markets Now.